the bottom right-hand side, it's the best of 5 grand final here of the ESL Open Cup Europe number 92. So European server just took down Hero Marine in the semis 3-1. It is Zest. So he's obviously not too bothered by the server, and I would say PvZ, one of the matchups you could argue is a little bit less affected by ping a lot of the time. Obviously ping is always a factor, but if I had to pick PvT or PvZ, I think I'd rather be PvZ with high ping than PvTing. Reynor in the top left absolutely demolished Bjorn, wasn't even close in the semi-final that we just watched. So that's what just happened there. As we have Reynor on the top left-hand side, and we'll see if he can demolish Zest, or if we're going to maybe have a close grand final today. It would be kind of nice to get a bit of a close one. It would be kind of nifty. As that probe heads to the upper side, heads in towards the main, has a bit of a scout around. And that will be that for the moment. So yeah, we'll see what Zest brings out. Zest loving a lot of the Stargate stuff. I was casting Zest earlier today, guys. I mean, we actually started the day casting Zest. So he's been kind of playing StarCraft as pretty much as long as I've been playing StarCraft. In fact, he won my tournament earlier. So Zest is still here. Second time today we're casting Zest in the finals of a tournament. And he did play some PvZ earlier too. He played against Solar. He actually had one game that was a pretty convincing win, holding off against Hydras. And the second game, I really thought he was dead. And he won it out with a big ground army rebuild against a Solar who just couldn't quite get the units up in time. I mean, the games were a lot more complex than that. That was a very quick summary of kind of what happened. But, yeah, in general, was some cool games. So excited to see the PvZ he brings right here. As we get this up and running and see whether Reynor, like I say, can put up a good fight today. See how this is going to go down. Floor just chilling at the frontier overhead. Circling speed is on the way out as well, by the way, so that's coming through as this drone of Reynor is going to pop out of the main and head across down to the low ground. And just going to be seeing the Stargate is continuing up as well. So that's Stargate coming through for the moment. And that ready to roll. As, yeah, our warp gate just continues on and along. And we'll see, of course, where the Stargate takes us. Expecting a lot of Stargate openings from Zest here. A lot of just double Stargate Void Ray stuff. That's kind of his style as of late. He doesn't really change that up too much. So yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's crazy how much of a grinder Zest has been lately. He has really been, for the last few months, just grinding like any online competition. Pretty much if I ask the Koreans, hey, do you want to play this? Zest is immediately like, yes. I asked Zest a couple of days before his GSL final. I was like, hey, do you want to play this tournament, by the way? We've got this WardiTV hype train event. And he was like, yes. I was like, any days are bad for you? And he was like, no. And I'm like, I assume you'd rather play after GSL, though, right? And he's like, okay. He's just like, no, I'll just play freaking whenever. He really is just like playing this. He's playing every competition he can get his hands on, basically. This is cool. This is not a Void Ray. This is an Oracle opening, and a multiple Oracle opening at that. So that is very different from maybe the expectation here, where you expect him to go Void Rays. Playing multiple Oracles is a style that has some kind of popularity and kind of, you know, something behind it, but it's not super common. Some terrible observer misses the 3 drones going down to the Oracle. I apologize for that. But it is going to be triple Oracle, and I think that's fascinating. You know what, for this finals, guys, I'm going to try and grab, Indy's camera. And then I can keep an eye out. Indy can observe. I can keep an extra eye on the minimap. I've observed all day long today, and I feel like I am getting a little bit sloppy with it. So I'll grab Indy's camera for the first game at least, and should help us to not miss critical parts of the action. I actually talked about this the other day, where it's like, it's really weird, but like, you know, just because someone else is observing, you immediately notice more things on the map, because you don't have to worry about actually observing as much, right? So now I can keep an eye on the mini-map more easily, and that just makes life in general so much easier. It's crazy. I noticed so many more things. I knew having a dedicated observer would be so good. Adepts are here. I mean, they're moving forward. Oracles are here too. I feel like there's not really a lot from Reynor bar Queens. He's going to put the Adepts in a corner. Love that positioning. Obviously, that's really good. He's going to set Stasis Ward down here as well. I mean, the Oracle's just going to get into the main. They get pushed away pretty quick from the main, but, I mean, adventuring around, I don't mind them having a look. I don't mind them trying a couple things on for size for sure. It's just going to be seeing a few Adepts continuing down through or continuing up through the center of the map. They're going to find a few of these queens here, so a few queens going to take some extra shots, but yeah, in general, Zest just forcing a lot of units. Reynor doesn't really do anything about that, and Zest even keeps pretty much everything alive, right? He lost 1 Adept, he's killed 9 drones now in the game. I mean, Zest is actually having a really good start up here. The early game has not been pretty for our poor little Zergy Reynor. So Reynor not having the best of starts this far, as you will see the lair on the way up. The +1 missiles is starting as well. All of this coming through right now. As we're going to be seeing these lings in the center are going to get picked apart. Nice force field in the middle, as those lings do get chased away. An Immortal hallucinated right now, by the way, is currently going to make this army a bit scarier than it really is. He doesn't actually have a robo yet, so it's a really cool little push here, where he's like, hey, look, I've got a robo. I'm looking to be aggressive. You be afraid of me right now. Now, if he notices this Immortal is fake, then obviously it's not really all that great, so killing the creep teamers is nice, but maybe Reynor picks up on that. Again, the reality is this is Blink and +1, so we're going to see a pretty aggressive Zest here at some point with them Blink Stalkers looking to really make something happen. As the Oracles fly in, and they will get rid of a couple drones already. Now escaping away down the left side, a few Stalkers blinking back as the Zerglings come through. Those Zerglings getting chased away as well without really too much of an issue. Still plenty of queens around the bottom side. Just going to be seeing a setup continuing then. I'm really intrigued by how this +1 blink attack goes. He is actually already setting up for the Robo Bay though, so he says, I'm already kind of preparing for the future a little bit here and getting prepped for that. It's a Stalker army. Will pressure though, right? Again, you can do some damage while you tech up into those Disruptors. Those Disruptors will really have your back when it comes to if Reynor gets a chance to counterattack. Well, he probably won't because of the Disruptors. They're pretty good in that scenario. So yeah, I don't mind it from Zest. I mean, putting on pressure and stuff is almost always a reasonable thing to try and do. As we do see these Oracles making their way through the top side, and just looking to see if there's any saturation in this 4th base. There really is not. I mean, Reynor has just been making units. He starts +2, and he's got Hive on the way, so he's not all in. But it is just Roach Ravager. He drops the Hydra Den now as well, so maybe looking towards the Hydra Lurker later game. I really like what Zest has against this, though. Like, having Disruptors already against the Lurkers. Now, of course, Vipers can be used very effectively against Disruptors, abducting them in. I feel like we've got a pretty cool setup across the board here. I feel like we've got really cool potential for a very interesting game of PvZ, and especially one that's not SkyToss focused. Hell yeah, sign me the heck up. That sounds freaking amazing. I'm down for that 100% of the time, as we do see our Stalkers coming through. We're going to pick off a Queen right there. And just going to get us a couple more kills here and there too. Roach Ravager settling down in the center. As these Disruptors and Oracles move along over the left-hand side. And they are just going to be setting up as well. A couple of Stasis Wards going down. Again, a few Stasis Wards up and running. The Stasis Wards are going to pop. We're going to drop a Revelation in, and Roach Ravager again is going to be maybe taking a little bit of damage. Oracles are going to show up. We get rid of one Ravager. We're going to try and find another. Doesn't quite happen, though. Now turning all of those Oracles around again and just going to be bringing them back down to the bottom right-hand side. Carrier's building. So Zest is happy just to take this as a chance to get into his SkyToss composition. That's something Reynor will have to get an answer for as well here further down the line. That currently he doesn't have an answer for it on the map, right? So yeah, something you're going to need an answer for somewhere. Somehow. He sees the carriers coming through, so Spire might want to be a priority. He drops double Spire immediately. He's like, okay, Zest. We're building carriers, are we? Well, we're building carriers. I'm going to get the double Spire. I'm going to get the anti-air. That's going to be a bit of a necessity, let's face it. Just going to be seeing these few disruptors out over on the left-hand side. Adept setting up, and you have the roaches showing up as well. Jumping on top of a couple stalkers right away. The Cybercore is about to go down. Oh, like 2 seconds away from +1 air weapons being done. Oh, that's such a painful denial. Usually when you get +2 air weapons, you can have a really good timing on your hands, but now you're not going to have +1, so getting +2 is going to be even more difficult. That's brutal. The resources lost, by the way. It's amazing for Zest, but snipes like that definitely make the future of this game a little bit tougher for him. Some zealots warping in. He's going to start moving onto the map. Of course, Reynor's kind of had the freedom to do as he wishes during this as well, right? It's not been a lot to, really stop him. As you're going to see a few roaches moving up. You're going to see the stalkers turning around and actually going to push those roaches out of here. So those roaches get chased away, and just going to be seeing a gain storm on the way up. +2 attack upgrade coming through. All of our corruptors are on the way out from Reynor, so again, getting an answer up for the carriers. As that really is banking as well. It's kind of crazy. I really thought this was going to be a really cool back and forth kind of game, quite a few fights and stuff, and it turned into like a really passive setup where neither player really did too much of anything to begin with, honestly. Zealot on the top being picked away at. We got the few High Templar moving through here. Lurkers burrow. High Templar, I mean, they're just not where they're meant to be. They're going to get chased. Run, HDs, run. Disruptors? Disruptors? Zest? I mean, you lost a Disruptor there. I guess if you fire them, maybe the Viper abducts, but if you fire the Disruptors, it might force the Lurkers to decide to run away, and then maybe you save the High Templar. I mean, I know you have the carriers to kill them anyways, just like the Disruptors are a bit more of an immediate get the hell out the game sort of thing, right? Oop. I love that. It's just a carrier just gets yoinked off the top of the screen. It's like when you're watching like a, kind of like a comedy show or something, or like a, I don't know what kind of film to describe it as, but you just see like the person at the back of the group just get like taken away overly dramatically, and then the group turns around and be like, wait, where did Fred go? Like, he's just disappeared. Like the carry just got yoinked off the top of the screen. Just love the position of it there. That kind of made me giggle. Stalkers are getting rid of some spine crawlers. I mean, more carriers being yoinked on in. Zest is really poking for a fight, but the only thing he's getting is, well, killed. He's taking a lot of damage so far. So not having the best time with this just yet, as we do see a couple more Ravager Biles coming through. Oracle gets hit. Some Lurkers setting up on the top side as well, as we will have ourselves a couple of Zealots kind of slicing through this natural base. So that natural mineral line taking some damage. Extra Zealots warping in. They're going to go charging forwards. Lurkers are doing okay here. Stalker's still picking away at the 12 o'clock, and a little bit more damage being done. We've got the carriers and the Archons. Well, there's one carrier getting abducted in. It gets picked off. Just gonna see that spine going down. These few Lurkers gonna unburrow and back it up a little bit as well. Again, just gonna be seeing our army turning around. Just gonna be seeing the Lurk again picked away at. Carrier is gonna get picked off too. Just gonna be seeing these Archons continue to push on forward. I mean, Zest really has been looking to fight for such a long time, using a lot of his storms on the ground army. Carriers have no interceptors left. I mean, there's only really one carrier left here. It just really feels like Zest is just being kind of getting melted repeatedly for a long time now. And now he's got this forward base over here, which is kind of just a question mark as well. I mean, the idea is maybe good, but yeah, I mean, it just feels as though he's been so eager to get that base up, /be over there, /fight, that everything's gone wrong for him. Now he's got no anti-air, and well, those corruptors are going to caustic spray down some pretty key structures. He warps in some stalkers. I mean, do you just commit these corruptors? Maybe. Lurkers are burrowing up, and Zest just types GG. This was a really weird last few minutes of this game where Zest really didn't do anything effective for kind of a while. GG's. Reynor takes game 2 of the finals. Top right side. Our blue Zerg, who was really just prepped for everything this last game, didn't really give his opponent much of a shot. It's Reynor. And kind of played a cool opener. Felt like some of the mind games initially were nice, but then kind of kept on wandering into fights that he just got slowly picked apart in. It is Zest in the bottom left. Alright guys, well, get into our game number 2, and we'll see what happens as we get set up into 2,000 atmospheres. Again, you know, ping is a thing, and it's also like super late at night for Zest. It's what, like 5:20 a.m. right now, I think? So it's pretty late for Zest at the moment, which of course means that, you know, again, maybe playing a bit sloppy after all these hours of playing is a thing as well. Just felt like he had such a cool plan for the early game and stuff, and then, yeah, like a lot of the later game stuff was kind of a bit problematic and didn't obviously go as well. Be Gabe to get here must be doing something right, as tired as he is. No, I mean, obviously Zest is still good. I think, I mean, you can see how a lot of his setup was good, right? I think a lot of what he was doing initially was very good. It's just, there's also going to be points sometimes where things will not look so pretty, and that was definitely some of the later parts of that game. It's all good. Game was still fun. I mean, game was still interesting. Gotta remember, guys, the day started off with us casting about 4 2-minute games in a row. It took us about an hour and a half when we casted 5 maps, and 4 of them were 2 minutes long. We get into a series, it was 2 minutes long, you know, then 2 minutes again. We would have like 20 minutes finding a game, get in, 2 minutes long, more downtime. So, you know, just the fact the first game was 15 minutes and kind of cool, I was kind of happy about, you know. I'm okay with this. Well, Stargate Open in a game from Zest. This time, it is a Void Ray. So last game, Triple Oracle. This game, a Void Ray already, and that is very suggestive that we maybe continue through to double Stargate Void production. The other alternative, sometimes Zest still does introduce that Twilight Council post Void Ray Oracle and just go for the Glaives. It's not super common nowadays, but if he was going to do anything else off of a Void Ray first, that would be my next best guess. Oracle on the way to follow up that Void Ray. That, of course, is expected, as we just take a 345 third base, just straight over to the third. No question about it, is this Void Ray is going to commit for the Overlord. I mean, you get that without taking too much hull damage, maybe a few shots. Decent step forward, gets it about 60-70% of its HP, so it's decent. Plus one of our weapons starts, confirming our idea and our concept of the double Stargate Void. And then the question and the onus kind of goes over to Reynor to kind of decide, hey, what am I going to do now? How am I going to build into this? And how am I going to respond to someone who is this time much more clearly going to Sky Toss right away, rather than a later game Sky Toss transition? Forge on the way. Obviously, Forge early is really needed nowadays just to help you hold off a lot of these Queen Walks. Get some cannons up, get that that damage going out on the ground. It goes a long way. It really does help. It really does. It actually goes a huge distance. Let's see our Void Ray coming through, picking off that Overlord. And the Oracle just patrolling out the front as a few Zerglings going to loop around the left side. The +1 melee upgrades on the way in. So Reynor are going to show some melee upgrade already, and that's kind of fun. With the melee upgrade, you know, oftentimes going to end up playing just Quitling Bane heavy, and then you can go in towards the kind of the Ultras later game. You can get the Queens up and the Infestors out. That's a lot of the time what you see. With melee upgrade on the Lings, they're going to be that little deadlier on some of the run-bys initially too, so that's something else to watch out for. And maybe some of the earlier Ling attacks, once that +1 is done, could be quite effective, and Zest will have to be pretty good to make sure that he doesn't leave any openings or anything that the Zerglings can take advantage of. This is going to take a step forward, and that's Void Ray. Ooh. Felt like that Void Ray was in some trouble. Now that one Queen being targeted, try to go around the other side. It is a Void Ray dying for a Queen, though. The Oracle's going to activate to help out. We have another Transfuse popping up at the right time. Another Void Ray dead, and that's going to be a third Void Ray dead. This was not it at all from Zest. I have no idea. I mean, he didn't even attempt to micro these Void Rays back, though. I just don't feel like that's a fight you ever commit to, right? Spire on the way from Reynor, by the way, so he's going to go for the Spire immediately as the Fleet Beacon's coming through from Zest. He wants to go straight into, like, the later game Sky Toss as well. Not going to have a ground transition at all. Here come the Lings. Melee upgrade not done yet. But they're going to get here early and start picking away at some of the building static defense. I mean, this is really nice. I mean, you don't need the melee upgrade to be successful here. There's only a couple of Adepts around. I mean, Zest just lost a lot of Void Rays, so he just doesn't have that much damage output anywhere. And even then, the few Voids that are showing up just don't do well against Lings because there's only so few of them. Zest is going to be losing the pylons on his third base. This is not really ideal, as the few Voids will go into the main. There's a Queen coming through to try and turn this around. That Lair's taking damage. A new Queen pops out as well. We target fire the first Void. Oh, all the other Queens are so far out of position. I actually think this Lair is going to go down. We lose one Void Ray. The Lair is going to go. No Transfuse available. Like I say, all those Queens were in a weird place. Big loss on the Lair, but I mean, I guess you've already put your Lair tech on the field with the Spire. And the Lair will rebuild. It's more just that you lose a base in general, but of course Zest had his third base gutted just moments ago as well. So it's not like Reynor isn't returning the pressure and returning the fight a little bit. That is absolutely a part of this as well. Things around the left-hand side, they go scampering away. So there was a Void Ray over there. 14 meters on the way out, by the way, as well. So going to be meters out of the Spire. And he really just believes then, Reynor, that he can get a lot done with these meters very quickly. Let's see if he can. Usually the Void Rays against meters, I mean, there's only 6, 7 Void Rays up, so I feel like everything... I mean, I guess we're about to be on 9. There's a couple more finish. You know what it is? It's one of those scenarios where the meters can do kind of good against the Void Rays because the Void Rays are just not quite in position right away. I actually feel like, yeah, you're going to cancel a base up here, but these meters are going to fly in. The Voids are completely in the wrong place. Probes are going to start pulling. How well can you mitigate the damage here? Lings are going to intercept the probes that are pulling away too. So that's just going to type out GG. Preparation for Void Rays, pretty much nil. Reynor takes the 2-0 lead. Jagged Industries with a 2-0 lead for the blue Zerg in the top right corner of the map. It is Reynor taking on our pink Protoss in the bottom left-hand corner. Zest, who has just... I mean, that last game, I just don't understand the Void Rays fighting those Queens. That's, not really it. It's going to see a spawning pool early in the game, so Reynor just going to try and win this one quick, but... Well, we'll see if it works. I mean, that's one of the strengths of Beckett. We'll see what the defense of Zest looks like. Hopefully is on point, otherwise things fall apart pretty quickly. Backs up, and now Zest knows, so let's see what the response he's gonna go for here. Second gateway. Okay, second gateway will wall with the cyber core. This is so micro-focused, though, because you need to make sure you do not let that Zerg get surrounded, otherwise everything falls apart very quickly. Gonna chrono boost that Zealot out. So you see the couple of Lings on the way through. Queen on the way up as well. And, oh yeah, the Lings are heading down to the bottom left-hand side. Hey, what's up, Absent14? Thank you so much for the Prime sub. Appreciate it. Welcome, as you do see our feelings already over here, nibbling on that Cybercore. A lot of probes pulled so that they can help to fight with the Zealot if needed. Second Zealot coming out, and that's when you really do need to start making some effort to stop this Cybercore taking damage. And he will. 2 Adepts now on the way as Reynor. Okay. Just not really having had the most success so far. He's looking for some damage now. He'll get a probe. The Zealots start to move a bit further forward. Adepts are about to be out, and that's when I think Reynor has to get out of here. 4 workers behind. Reynor will have the hatchery finished, though, and Zest is obviously just now expanding. So Reynor can play catch-up for a little bit, and by keeping the units alive, he does have the units already set up to fight against the Adept, etc., right? So you already have the units you need to deal with this, with these units that are coming across the map, so you don't have to stop droning. You can keep on droning. That's obviously usually one of the things. If you've lost like 6 Lings by now, that's another 3 drones you have to not build. And that's a serious percentage of your income if you're not building, you know, 3 extra drones on top of 19 or something. Additional drones on the way out here. As you do see these couple of Adepts just looking around. The Queen's on the way over here. They see the Adepts. The Adepts should have just seen the Lings there as well, so they're not going to commit to anything. Reynol's going to put down the Roach-Rowan, so he's going to get ready for a very aggressive attack. Now, Zest is Twilight Counseling. What does that mean? As Reynor has scouted that, so it feels like the Roach-Rowan might be a response to the Twilight. The one thing that would be really good for Zest here is a Dark Shrine. A Dark Shrine would probably get up just about in time, or at some point to maybe start turning around and attack while Reynor has no lair. If he goes Glaives, I don't like that at all against this. It's a 2 base. Roach all in from Reynor. Roaches start. Adept's still shading through trying to pick up info, but and the info they really need is, hey, where the heck's the 3rd base? Well, 3rd base can actually start in a moment, as it will get going. As these Lings still trying to keep the Adepts at bay, though. So the Adepts don't have that info. The speed boost helps the Lings get on top of these Adepts. That's a surround on 1. Oh, it broke out. Good target fire and good breakout. But now you're committed through, and now you see the Roaches at least. Well, information gained. Immediately you start an Immortal in the Robo facility, right? There is a Robo, so an Immortal can start. We're building drones behind this as Reynor, so... Okay, what I'm worried about for Reynor is if he loses everything. Zest's potential counterattack is huge, and I love the Dark Shrine. I was just talking about it. I mean, it's not going to help necessarily in this defense now, but I think he knows it's something that Reynor won't have a response to for a while, and if this game gets elongated or there's a second wave of an all-in, a Dark Shrine is a guaranteed defense. I do like that from Zest, but first he actually has to survive to get it up, and that might be the problem here. The battery is not going to be done in time, and the battery's just dead. Oh, he does have an Immortal, though, and a few probes obviously will buy some time. The Lings obviously want to get through here as well. Immortal's putting out a lot of damage. We get rid of some more of the Adepts. The Roaches and Ravages putting some damage out. This is going to be cleaned up. For a moment or two, it looked terrifying, whereas Zest just didn't feel as though he had any units. Reynor kills 5 probes. Well, he's 20 workers ahead off the back of this. He's dead to the Dark Templar, though, at this rate. He needs detection. He needs to start Spore Crawlers around about now. Otherwise, these DTs are just going to win the game straight up. Stalker pinging onto the Overlord. The few Adepts are making their way across to the top side of the map. So away they go. Queens are going to be in position there right away. The Adept's going to come around to the side. And DTs are, well, up against Spores at least. So Spores are down. Sorry, I didn't realize the Spores were down already. So the Spores are in place. There is detection available. You've also got to deal with the Adepts as you deal with these DTs. One DT dead, the other DT's dead as well. Right? Yes, gets it. Zest just types GG. And that is series. That's the finals. Reynor 3-0. And I think it's fair to say we maybe didn't have the craziest set of games in the ESL Open Cup today, as Reynor looked great in this final.